In this video, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my expectations for the task part of your WebQuest. So I'm just on session 5, which is what you're doing this week. And if you'll look down here, there is a little embedded presentation that talks about WebQuest in general. And if you go to the task part, there's a little link there, and it talks all about the 4 different parts of the expectations for WebQuest. So you are going to put the students in a role with a purpose. And what that means is you are not going to talk to them like students. You are not going to talk to them as if you're the teacher and you're giving them an assignment. This needs to actually have a real life scenario, which is the next point. And you're actually going to put them in the role of somebody who's doing something. So if I am a school board member trying to, or a parent in a community trying to convince a school board member that the football team needs to have new jerseys, or that the football team needs to do something specific, or if I want to, if I am a lawyer trying to convince somebody that there needs to be an amendment to the Constitution. Whatever it is, you are actually putting your students in the role of somebody with a real life scenario or situation. And you need to actually give them a problem to be solved. That's real world. So if you want to, you need to also think about giving them the process will have sites that they have to go to on the internet to gather information so they create something. So if they are going to have to convince somebody that the movie theater in town needs to only focus on Shakespearean tragedies, what would they need to do that? They'd need to go and look at the different specifics of maybe a theater production, the specifics about Shakespeare and tragedies versus comedies or whatever it is, and you would send them to those websites to gather that information, and then what are they going to create based on that? So they have to have an end product. So if they're going to make a speech, they are going to maybe create a video to convince somebody. They need to create a brochure with information. If they need to create, they're going to create a website. If they're going to, it has to have some type of end product. It doesn't have to necessarily be physical, but it can be. Let's say you're an art teacher and your students have been contacted by this world art organization, and they have to create one piece of art that encompasses these 3 different artists, and they have to put it in one piece of art in order to win a $10,000 prize. So they have to learn about these 3 artists, and then they're creating their own unique piece of artwork to be submitted for this big prize. So they have a purpose behind what they're doing. That's the big part of this task. The students are in a role, and you speak to them as if they are that role. If they're a zoologist trying to save the lion reserve or the rainforest, you talk to them as if they are that person. The real life scenario, you're going to create something, create a scenario that might actually happen. The end product is very important, and then write in first person. So if you actually go down here, there's in this WebQuest taxonomy document, there are actually lots of different tasks that you could have your students do. And so some of them are considered journalistic tasks, where they're gathering information and they're writing like a newspaper article or something. Some of them are retelling tasks, which that is not my favorite kind of task, because really you're just gathering information and then doing some type of retelling of that. Compilation tasks, they can take information from several formats or several resources and then create something. And this document gives you a lot of different types of scenarios, or a lot of different information about the different types of tasks. You could have kids solve a mystery by gathering information. So just look at some of those if you can't, if you don't feel like you know what you want to do right off the bat. The other thing that you could look at is my example. If you click on that one, I have a WebQuest for 4th grade science, and you're going to save the rainforest. So mine says, here's all of my information right here. You will be assuming the role of a botanist, so you'll notice that I'm talking to them in first person, and they're going to be a botanist, and then what are they doing and why are they doing it? So here's my scenario right here. Role of a botanist: to persuade a money-hungry entrepreneur not to cut down a huge rainforest in South America to build a golf resort. So the scenario is he's getting rid of the rainforest to build something that he wants to do. So that's the scenario, and I'm trying to persuade him. So I'm going to need to gather information to persuade him. So then I say, your task is to gather information on the unique foliage in the rainforest. Be specific. So I'm telling them what they're going to do. Only include ideas that would convince Mr. Meany of the error of his ways. Let him know of the wonderful trees and plants that would disappear off the face of the earth if he were to go forward with his plans. Use the internet sites below. Create a brochure. So I am telling them what their end product is going to be. Okay, so they're going to create a brochure full of pictures and information to give to Mr. Meany, and this will surely influence his decisions for the future. So you are a botanist. What are they doing? They're creating a brochure. Why are they doing it? Because we're persuading this money-hungry entrepreneur not to cut down a rainforest, and I am writing to them in first person, actually second person. You will, so I'm talking to them as this botanist, okay? So that is the only part of this web page that you need to have done. You're going to do this task, and make sure that you include all 4 of those things: the role, the scenario or situation, the end product, and writing directly to the student in that role. And so I also included a list of student examples that you can look at. These are, you can just click on a couple of them, see which ones that you might be interested in. These, I think all of these were ones that were done by students, yeah. And so you can just look at those. Several of them, they have different tasks with them. So you can see examples of other people. You can also just Google WebQuest. There's a lot of them out there that you can look at. The last link I'm going to take you to is right here. Here's the link to specific instructions for all parts of the WebQuest. Stress again that you only have to have the task done for this week. Okay, so I start giving you some information here, but you can just look at this task part. The thing that I caution you on is that you need to remember that the process part of this, you're going to be sending the students out to websites to actually have them gather information so they can create whatever end product you're going to have them create. So you have to be able to make your task something where they have to go and discover on the internet. So just keep that in mind as you are writing your task. Look at those examples and get some good ideas, and I will give you feedback as soon after